Hey, it's Chris here with your fishing forecast for August 7th. We're almost a quarter of the way through the month. Summer is rolling on, fishing continues to be great, and some new opportunities are on the horizon. So this week we had some rain roll through on the weekend, cooled things off to a much more comfortable temperature for us, much more comfortable for fish as well. Fishing for warm water fish like your bass, walleye, muskie, carp continues to be great. Even though these are warm water fish, they actually appreciate a little bit of a break in water temperatures often as well. So fishing does look to be tremendous for them going into the weekend. No major weird weather looks like on the horizon for most areas either, so temperatures should be stable and preferable for those fish. But some other really cool opportunities coming onto the horizon as well. So we have some cooler overnight temps coming in now. So places like Caledon, your central Ontario area, we're getting mid to low teens overnight temperatures and lower daytimes as well, which means that some of our trout rivers, with the exception of the Grand, will be cooling down to ranges that are going to be safe to fish for trout. Bare minimum in the mornings at some point, and maybe even entire days depending on how cool things get. So keep an eye on temperature gauges online, and keep an eye obviously on the temps as you're on the river, but definitely looks like there's opportunity there. And if you need help figuring out where to go, come check with us. We'll be happy to point you in the right direction. For trout, there's some cool ways to fish for them this time of year. So we do have two pretty good hatches that continue through the month of August, which include isonychias in many rivers, so a large mayfly, and trichos, a very small mayfly. These hatches are fairly sporadic. They kind of continue throughout the whole month, so most days you'll be able to find those bugs. But one other really cool way to fish for trout this time of year, which doesn't get a ton of attention but is very, very fun, is fishing terrestrials. So instead of fishing for insects that are hatching, fishing bugs that live on land, terrestrial insects, that fall into the water. So these are things like grasshoppers, and ants, and beetles. And the cool thing about fishing these things is that it's not terribly technical fishing. You're actually trying to go out there and make a disturbance, slap that fly down as if a bug fell off a tree or something, and the takes can be absolutely ferocious on, especially when it comes to bigger grasshopper patterns. So that is a very fun way to go this time of year, not terribly technical, and it can pull some very big fish as well. So great opportunity to do that. If you ever want to fish a hopper-dropper setup, this is the time of year to do it as well, if you're fishing in water that allows it. So some very fun ways to fish for trout. The other opportunity that's right around the corner, or even just about here, is our salmon fishery. We've already had some early reports of Chinook salmon starting to show up in rivers, and those are going to just increase as the month goes on and we get into September. So right now, numbers of fish fairly sparse, but as we get a couple more rains, things can happen very, very quickly for salmon, and especially in some of our colder flowing rivers. Things will pick up through August pretty reliably. So come down, check with us. We'll be happy to point you in the direction of the rivers that do tend to get those earlier runs, because there is some discrepancy in the timing between rivers. Some will run quite late, some quite early. But really, within the next 2 weeks, you can expect to see salmon in the rivers if temps keep up the way they are. And definitely you'll have fish staging out at the mouths of some rivers that you could even go potentially cast for right now if you want to. So some very cool stuff coming up for salmon. If you need to tie flies, now's the time to do it. As always, if you need help figuring out where to go this weekend or what to fish, come down to the shop. We're happy to help you out, and we'll see you on the water.